And I'm seeing that there's a lot of cards here. You can see all these with the yellow backgrounds. So yellow usually represents like a sunny, optimistic period of time. There's a lot of different things going on here. So in some ways, I'm seeing some coins here. The four corners of the spread are surrounded by coins cards. So there may be some focus on money, especially collaborative money. And this Three of Coins is group projects. Two of Coins is joint finances. Six of Coins is resources, who has it, who doesn't. And Four of Coins is usually like holding on to your money. It's almost like a fearful, miserly aspect. There's a coins card here as well. So there may be some focus on money for July for Cancer. Six of Coins in the reverse position means, Six of Coins in the upright, first of all, means, who's got the money and who doesn't have the money. I usually ask in this card, who do you identify with? The person who's handing out the money, the person who's receiving it, or the person who's not getting any at all. So it's a real card of identification of where the money is being handed out. So in the reverse position, it can mean that you're not confident about your budgeting. You're not identifying with the person who has the money. You may be feeling bereft or like I'm not getting enough. Or sometimes this could also be like if you're recently taken on a job, you're not getting offered the salary that you thought you would. In other words, the money's not being spread around or handed out in the way that you thought. So this is just a card of seeing how you can identify with or put yourself in the place more of the guy who's handing out the coins, the guy who has the money. And often it has to do with being fair and equitable about money, making sure you're balanced and even between your necessities and your pleasures. Like if you're spending, being equitable, being balanced, reasonable, spending within your means. So Six of Coins is an assessment of the money situation, who's got it and who doesn't have it. And how can you put yourself in the place of the guy who does have it, either through better budgeting or, spending in a more balanced, reasonable way. Or even, sometimes it means giving some away in order to receive some more. That's the lesson of this card down here. When you are in Four of Coins in reverse, which is showing up in the same line here as this, it may mean that you're just holding on to every single last cent, being very miserly, and that blocks money flow. It also blocks your heart. So you can see these guys are kind of similar. The difference between them is this guy is static. This guy is not moving. This guy is at least handing money out. So that's why he's got more of it and more comes through him. So consider that aspect, is that when you are operating in fear, Four of Coins is often fearful about money, holds on to every last cent. Therefore, he's stuck. He's immobilized. Try to have less fear about it and see how you can benefit and give to others. And usually more money comes to you through that. So that opens July for you. You might be assessing your financial situation. There's also Page of Cups. This is you, Cancer. Cups represent the emotional world, the heart. And Page of Cups is a young person who's considering, the heart aspect. So sometimes this card can be read as infatuation. It's really a card of assessing what makes me happy, where are my desires, what makes my heart leap. So when this card comes up for you, you might be accessing the young side of yourself and saying, what made me happy when I was a kid? What, am I falling in love with something? Where are my passions or my desires? There is some way in which injustice, maybe regarding money in particular, is surrounding you, like what your heart believes and what your heart feels is right. There is some way in which justice is being blocked. This card is a major arcana card, which, it's kind of clear in the depiction. Justice is the person who renders the verdict. It's when they weigh evidence and assess things, and then a judgment comes down. And when justice is in the reverse position, it kind of means that justice is being shadowed. It's not coming to the surface. And you can see in this card, her scales are out of balance. In the reverse position, it definitely means like there's some sort of injustice, And the fact that there are scales in both this card and this card that's surrounding you, Cancer, I'm going to say that at the beginning of July, there may be some way in which fairness is being called into question. And since both these cards are in the reverse, there's some way in which unfairness is surrounding you. And it may be hurting your heart, or it may be opening up your heart. Like if you're experiencing injustice in some ways, whether it be criticism or a verdict or having to do with money, it may be breaking open your heart to see, what is it that I really want? What makes me happy, passionate, turned on, infatuated, joyful? That's all heart energy. And it's actually in line here with falling in love or sweet innocence. This is an exchange of hearts. So this can be, Six of Cups can sometimes be someone from your past or childhood. It's got all this innocence with these lilies, innocence of childhood, reminiscing, sentimentality. It's basically two children handing hearts to one another, handing that emotional element. And I'm seeing it as very related to this, because this is you in your sort of childlike self, in your emotional, I think of it as like the child's heart. And then this is you interacting with someone else in a very innocent way. And often this can be a reunion with someone from the past, someone that you know from the past can show up, or someone who makes you feel like a child again. So, and then it's actually, there's a nice maturity of things here, because then you can see this is the couple here when the flowers are blooming, and it's sunflowers now. The sun is radiant, it's shining on them, and they're more like adults. So it could be that in July you have a blossoming of this relationship as you acknowledge what's really in your heart, and as you connect with someone who has that childlike innocence. There's a lot of emotional energy here, and it really brings out your radiance, and it helps you integrate with yourself and with the other person. So there's a lot of benefit there, but it may be that initially you're surrounded by a powerful element. This red energy, this red stripe and the red cloak of justice here. Red is a card of both, it's a color of both passion and power. It's that red blood, action, vitality, fire kind of color. And here in Page of Cups, it's muted to this pink color, which is a mixing with white. It's got a little bit more innocence to it. That's where it's heart energy. So it goes from being, powerful, dominant, red blood, vital energy, fire, to the softened, pinkish love energy. So it's helping you, whatever injustice you're experiencing, or lack of money, lack of decision-making or weighing the evidence. You may have felt like you made a wrong decision about something, but it's helping crack open your heart, and it may lead to something that can be quite nice for you, Cancer. I mean, this is where all the gold is in the middle and towards the end of July. So consider that towards the beginning of the month. Try to connect with your heart and what it is that what really opens your heart up. And what your childlike self, what made your heart leap when you were younger, even teenage years. This here, Three of Coins, is it can be a couple different things. It's either group projects, because in this card, Three of Coins, there's the builder, there's the architect, and there's the person who's going to be using the building in the Rider-Waite, but they're implied here. And Three of Coins can also be financial creativity, or multiple streams of income. So when this card shows up, it has to do with planning and competence, working on things in groups, making good decisions, planning out like the building of a structure or a project or a creative project that becomes financially viable. And it often depicts working with someone else or a group of people that you plan it out, works by committee. And it's a very creative card. 3 energy is creative. So I've seen some people refer to this card as the artist card. So artistic pursuits, group projects, or even establishing things where you have multiple streams of income coming in, like one from a job, one from a creative project, and one from something else. It's like when multiple resources or places of money come in. And that could be an antidote to this card. Like if you've just been doing one thing or you're not getting the money you need, you might become very creative towards the end of the first week of July and figure out a way, okay, well, how can I supplement my income? What can I do creatively? What if I have built this thing and I can sell it on, you know, there's a lot of different things that go on with this card in terms of creativity. So put those to use, Cancer. It's going to be a good time right at the tail end of that first week of July to do that. Then in the middle of July, there's something, you know, these two cards really relate to the past. And this card has to do with letting go of something that's happened in the past. So this card, Judgment, you know, it kind of echoes justice here. Both of these cards have a similarity in that a judgment is rendered. This one is very harsh and of the world. It's having to do with implementation of law versus evidence. It's basically like a judgment is made and justice. This card has more to do with karmic justice. Judgment has to do with like the weighing of the souls. In the Egyptian mythology, it's Ma'at who does this, who weighs the souls in a scale against a feather. But in this card, it depicts souls coming up and being called through this trumpet of fire. And they're called up through the graves. They're resurrected. And so it's a real card of forgiveness. It's a card of final judgment of your actions. And it's also a card of letting the ghosts of the past be behind. All of these people are released. You'll see they're kind of in this grayish color. Here it's a little bit blue, but traditionally it's gray, which is neutral. It means like there's nothing positive or negative. It's the karma of it is complete. They're being released. It's the letting go of the baggage of the past. And it's through this cleansing fire of forgiveness that is done. So it's saying to me, you may be having trouble like letting the ghosts of the past be. Like just let the past be in the past. Let it go. Let whatever's be buried, or, you know, in fact, let it be released. So try to employ some forgiveness here towards the middle of the month, whether it's towards yourself or looking at old prior actions. This can be kind of heavy energy. And this card is so full of like innocence and lightness and childlikeness and sentimentality that it's a very sweet card. This card is the opposite of cynicism. And this card can, if you hold grudges, this card is kind of saying like, don't hold grudges. Don't get upset with yourself from actions of the past or others. Like don't drag the past into the present is often sometimes how I read this card. So both of these cards, you can see that we've got these gray, somber figures surrounding this. I mean, look at both of these. It's like the sun is setting on this one. This is a triumphant fire. It's like evening cards. And then this is all in shadow. This is all old stuff. Five of Swords means a battle has happened, and trying to pick up the pieces, the swords, which are mental energy, or thoughts, insights, knowledge, experience. It's kind of like when you've lived through this battleground and the sun is setting on it, someone's collecting the rewards. And I often look at this as collecting thoughts, experience, ideas, but these two are very similar in the sense they've got this golden energy in the background. So the sky is open and full and radiant, but because the focus is on the foreground here in these shadow aspects, it's kind of like being hung up on karma or baggage is what I'm going to say here. So you need to employ forgiveness, and you need to like work on seeing the insights, collecting the knowledge, the thoughts, the experience from whatever it was that the sun has set on the past, because that is casting a certain influence on this card, which is Six of Cups, which again is that sweet, innocent, childlike, sentimental card. And it's helping you connect your heart energy with someone else to integrate and like really be vibrant towards the end of the month. This is a card of wholeness, of joy, of when the sun shines. These cards are in shadow aspects, so don't let them influence this. Don't let aspects of the past and not forgiving yourself or not forgiving someone else and not collecting insights from the past overshadow the wonderful like lightness that's here. See all that white in that card? That's innocence. that is purity. It's just letting yourself be childlike with someone else. And then towards the end of the month here too, 9 of Coins. This card is a card of, I call it luxury. It usually means having financial blessings from work that you've done yourself, your own self-discipline. You can see in the card that it's a woman who is sort of lavish in all the things that surround her. She's in purple robes, which represent royalty. She's eating grapes. She's got a falcon, which represents sort of like royal sport. She's wearing a turban and all these jewels. So it's really a card of, having worked hard, having saved money, and enjoying the spoils of the work that you've done for yourself. Both of these cards are about collecting spoils. This one is through hard work that you've done for yourself. And this one is through, something that the sun has set on, and a battle or a challenge of some sort. But both of them collect from this. This person collects financial and physical rewards, assets, possessions, money, that sort of thing. This person collects insights, knowledge, ideas, mental swords are mental energy. So because both of these are in reverse, Cancer, there may be some way in which you're having trouble in the middle of the month accessing the spoils, the riches, the rewards of either things that you've gone through or work that you've done. All 3 of these are Coins energy. So this is all having to do with money. And this may be a group project that you are working on. You're having trouble seeing how you can collect from your work. And this is, assessing joint finances. So it may mean that you need to look at the work that you've done creatively and see how you can profit from it and not be giving it away. If you're in a group project, you need to make sure that you're getting your part of the return. That's also echoing this card here. And that's also talking about 2 of Coins energy, because 2 of Coins is joint finances. It's juggling money. Like who's got this portion and who's got this portion. Or, am I having to put too much over here and I'm taking away from what's over here? Or am I taking from Peter to pay Paul? This can be a card of really juggling things. So try to access this 3 of Coins energy. That's creative. That's multiple streams of income. That's group projects. I'm seeing that you can benefit from group finances, but you have to be clear on what your portion of it is that you're going to receive. So make sure that you're not squandering what it is that your work has produced results from, and or try not to have doubts about the fact that it might actually be beneficial for you. Try to assess and see where the rewards are, both in terms of knowledge and in terms of finance or possessions. This too, both of these cards in reverse are kind of like a fear of money situations. This 4 of Coins feels like he has to hold on to every little thing. He feels like, I've got to pinch pennies. I've got to hold on to I've got to balance like all these coins in front of me, hold this one on my head. I've got to hold each of the ones down with my feet. And he blocks his heart because he's so worried about money. So one of the themes I'm getting for you, Cancer, for July is don't be so preoccupied with money that you miss out on this love that's coming to you. Or, keep your heart open because it's very rewarding. Don't let these 4 corners of money be where you miss out on all this stuff. There's something kind of austere about this line, this unfairness or judgment. I'm almost getting that it could be self-judgment, Cancer. And having, not seeing the insights from things that have happened in the past, not collecting the rewards or spoils, and then ending up feeling kind of like a hermit. This is a line that is, you can choose this line, which is austere, or you can choose this line, which is more about opening up your heart and connecting with someone else. I mean, both things are definitely possible for you here. And actually both of these cards, you can see there's light in both of these cards. This one is more about the light of the sun, connecting with someone else. Things are blooming, things are radiant. This one is more about truth and insight. You can see that he's still by himself. He's kind of old and gray, and that the mountains are here and it's cold and he's decided to stay alone. He still gets insight and he still comes to a new level of understanding. But the difference in the light between these cards is tremendous. Like this one encompasses everything. This one is more internal truth with a capital T, but this is light that everyone can see. So you've kind of got two paths here in July, Cancer, that you can go along. A theme will be money and how you can bring more to yourself and how you can become more creative with it and not so fearful with it. But you really have the opportunity to connect with your younger self, have some sort of childlike, sentimental interaction where it's an exchange of hearts between children that grows and develops into something more mature. Or it may just be about rendering verdicts. This is all thought energy. Swords, upside down. So maybe overthinking things or being harsh with verdicts, not seeing the lessons in something and ending up at the end of the month, you actually do get some insight, but, you know, as the Hermit. So just choose your path here through July. Either of these are available to you, and see if you can ease up on the money situation in terms of not being so worried about it. That's what these cards are. See if, especially towards the end of the first week, if you can just get more creative about it and maybe work with others about it, because that's going to